trying to land. I was like, ma'am, and she was like, oh, man. I was like, let me get another car here.
Well, the passenger that ran got like a felony probation, something or other, probation violation.
That's why he was.
And it's supposed to be
Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to Season 2 of U.S. Cops. It's a pleasure to have hosted them for this season. Oxford, Alabama is located on Interstate 20, about halfway between Birmingham and Atlanta. Our city consists of around 22,000 citizens. We police a population of around 45,000 a day. We're a retail hub on the interstate. We have a lot of parks and recreation, so we have a lot of tourism in our city. The department consists of 70 sworn officers and 85 personnel, and we consider ourselves a full service police department, whereas we have SWAT, we have air support, we have bike units, we have patrol, of course, investigations, and we also run a real-time crime center. Well, I think the documentaries that U.S. Cops are doing, it gives the public and the citizens a good comprehensive story of actually how police officers actually work on a day-to-day basis. And I think the more that the public understands how we function and what we do every day, I think we can bond better with them. They understand us better. That's one of the reasons why we do a lot of community-focused policing, is so that we can get to know the citizens that we protect, and they can get to know those police officers and understand that they're more than just someone in a uniform, that they're actual human beings who have families of their own, and they're here to protect and serve them every day. Well, I think one of the things that we try to focus on in Oxford is we try to be very proactive. We try to prevent crime from happening instead of most cities are deluged with calls where they're constantly having to just respond to service calls. So they're not really able to be proactive. That's one of the things that we try to do more here, is be proactive and prevent crime from happening to begin with, which decreases our call volume of having to answer those calls and citizens who have been victimized by crime.
My name is Trevor Riley. I'm a pilot, tactical flight officer, and the aviation safety officer for the Oxford Police Department here in Oxford, Alabama. I've been employed by the police department since August of 2022. Prior to that, I was employed by San Diego Police Department in California. I was a police officer there for 24 years, in 10 years as a patrol officer, and the last almost 14 years in the air support unit for San Diego Police, both as a pilot, tactical flight officer, and as the aviation safety officer for that department as well. I've been around aviation my whole life. Pretty much grew up with my dad owning an airplane. Took my first flying lesson when I was 16, got my private pilot's license for an airplane when I was 18. and got away from it up until I was with the San Diego Police Department Air Support Unit still. They hired me to become a helicopter pilot, and they paid for that training. So I became a commercial helicopter pilot, and between piloting and tactical flight officer, I've accumulated a little over 6,000 flight hours. When I start my regular patrol day is I come to the hangar, turn on the lights, make sure everything's still here. I go up to the office, open my locker and get into my flight suit, as I'm wearing right now. The pre-flight inspection of the aircraft, both aircraft start pretty much the same. Once I'm geared up and ready to go with my flight suit, I check the maintenance log, make sure there's nothing outstanding for maintenance-wise with the helicopter, make sure the flight hours match in the logbook as what does on the flight computer on the helicopter. And then I do a systematic inspection of the exterior and interior of the helicopter. I start at the same place every time. I start at the front and I remove the pitot cover, any other protective covers that might be on the helicopter. And that's just to get that stuff, like the pitot cover protects that pitot tube from getting any kind of blockage. From then I work over towards the right side of the helicopter, inspect the tactical flight officer compartment, make sure the seats, pedals, everything is where they're supposed to be, and I'll confirm that the switches are set on the console. From then I come down and check the tactical equipment, such as the FLIR, the Teledyne FLIR, the camera that we use, as well as the Track Spotlight. From then I check the back seat compartment, ensure that the transmission level is, the fluid level is appropriate. Then I check the engine oil compartment, make sure that those fluid levels are all good. And then I climb up top and I start checking the main rotor disc and ensure that all the blades are still good, all 5 blades, all 5 pitch link housings, the entire rotor hub is intact and serviceable and ready to fly. From then I continue moving down the right side of the helicopter towards the tail section. I confirm the tail rotor oil level is appropriate. I check the security and the connections for the tail rotor blades and the tail rotor hub. And then I start coming up the left side of the helicopter, and that's where I open up and inspect the engine compartment. And that's by opening up both left and right side compartment doors. And I open up the compartment, I check that there's no oil leaks, there's no hydraulic fluid leaking, there's no essentially that everything is serviceable and we're good to go for today's missions. And then I secure that back up and I continue up the left side of the helicopter, checking the left rear compartment and make sure everything is stowed appropriately and any switches that need to be placed are appropriate. And once that's secured, then I'll come up to the pilot side door, the left front door of the helicopter, and make sure that my equipment is going to be in there, like my flight helmet, my gloves, my knee board with all the checklists that we use. Make sure that it's all properly equipped and make sure those switches are in their appropriate spots. And once that's secured, then we're good to go for that aircraft inspection. And then I call the dispatch and let them know that we're in service. And the purpose of doing all this is just to make sure at the very beginning of the day that if a call for service comes out, that we are ready to respond and help the officers on the ground in any way we can. So during the startup procedure for this helicopter, the MD-530F, it's different than what I'm used to, but it's a modulated start, which requires me as the pilot to be really in tune with the temperatures and turning the throttle up properly and holding the starter for the proper amount of time, making sure the RPMs and the temperature are all coming alive as they should, and while also being prepared that if something isn't working properly, that I can shut it off. But so far, in my experience, this helicopter is so reliable in that it's pretty predictable and easy to fly. The startup procedure is real easy, and it requires the pilot to be in tune with the helicopter a lot more so than other aircraft that I've flown.
We're waiting 1 minute just to let all the systems come to life and work up. The oil pressure is up and good. The instruments are in the green. RPM 99% check for before takeoff check. The generator's coming on, the avionics master's coming on. There's radio. Power's coming up. I'm watching the torque to make sure that doesn't exceed 20 psi. That temperature should go back down. Anti-ice. Going to be another rise in temperature there. A little bit of rise there. That check's good. That's back off. Pitot heat. Be a little draw on the amps. That needle moved just a little bit, which is good. So that's done. Before landing checklist, we're confirming RPMs at 100%. Instruments still in the green. Cabin secured. Mission equipment is stowed. Our landing lights on.
So towards the end of this today's flight, once again, I make sure that the weather's is where the winds are from, because I always want to land into the wind, and so make the approach to the west into the wind as we usually do, and approach into the field, the heliport here, and just maintaining the proper power settings and everything, being aware that if anything happens last second that I can go around. But in this case, pretty routine landing. Once we land and set down, make sure we're stable on the ground. It's a process, it's a 2-minute process just to cool down, let the systems and the helicopter it slows everything down and secures the engine. And during that time, all the avionics are being turned off. We're checking and doing last minute checks of fuel levels, things like that. Once the helicopter stopped, we get out, and either I'll do it myself or someone else who's in the hangar would come out, open the hangar door for us, bring our lift out to us, connect the helicopter to the lift and bring it back into the hangar and secure that. And then at the end of that, we're copying down the flight hobs, the flight hours, so we can document how much time we've flown, and which goes in time for pilot logbook entries, but also maintenance on the helicopter themselves. So during this flight, we had a communication problem with the headset in the back seat, which we were unaware of. So upon completing this flight, myself and Lieutenant Durham, we troubleshot the headset and the avionics in the back seat to correct whatever the communication issue was, which in this case the audio panel was set to isolate the pilot, so we couldn't communicate between the front and back seats. But that's been corrected, and that was a relatively easy fix.
My name is Nick Reeves. I'm an officer here at Oxford Police Department. Patrol officer, actually a field training officer as well. I got into law enforcement after I graduated college. When I was in college, I really wasn't sure what to do after the military, and I ended up taking a criminal justice class. I was pretty good at it, so I decided to pursue it. And in doing so, I fell in love with the career, met some great people, did some fun internships, and I'm from Oxford. I graduated from Oxford High School and came back to my hometown of the police after I got out of the military. But honestly, if you'd asked me when I was in high school, I'd never be doing this at all. So, right now we have an officer who just made a traffic stop in zone 6. So Oxford's broken up into 6 zones. Tonight we're going to be in zone 5, but when things really start hitting the fan, zones don't matter anymore. So I'll be his backup. So we're going to get down there to him now. When'd you get him?
What?
When'd you get her?
Well, 60 and a 35 is why I pulled her over. I know her, went to school with her, but I run her tag the other day because I thought it was expired.
Yeah.
Tag is expired of 22, so I'm not going to write her a speeding ticket. I'm just gonna
Right,
write her
tag.
tag.
That'll work. I was like, of course it'd be at Antioch.
Well, crap, it took me forever to catch her. I turned around on Lane Road.
Good. Yeah, if you're doing 16 and 35. I think Holcomb's in zone 4 tonight.
Where are you?
5. She give you a reason?
She moved. I know her prior address in Cleveland County, but she just moved down here. She said within the last month or so, and she said she wasn't familiar with this deal.
What about the tag?
I haven't brought that up to her yet.
You got a passenger?
No. Okay. You cut your brake, all right? Come. All right, so I'm not riding your speed. However, your tag's been expired since September 2022. There's your license back. I did write you for the tag, get it up to date. If you can do that, we can work on something.
Tent ticket.
Okay. Your court date's not until August 24th of this year. It's not a problem. Drive. It's down off of 78. Yes. Yeah, down there. Keep in mind, it's 35 down the road. Okay? I know. I got you. That's why I cut your brake, okay? All right. Be careful. Have a good day.
To the next one.
On to the next.